Hey, it's Amy Nicholas back at you again. Welcome to the live stream. Hashtag replay if you are on the replay, but for my live people, how you doing? We are talking today about what to do when you have a goal for a long time with no end in sight. Okay, quick announcement. I've got a link down below, which I should probably actually put down below in the comments, that you can get show notes. I'm going to start sending out show notes and live stream notifications so you know exactly when I'm going live via email. Pin this comment. Here we go. And you can sign up there and just input your email. It's not going to charge nothing. So anyways, welcome to the show. We kind of got on this topic a little bit last episode. So if you missed that one, go back. Posted it on Tuesday, I believe. And thank you, Vince, for sharing your story because you inspired today's topic of what do you do when you have this goal for a very long time and you're like, I don't feel any closer to this goal. It's not really coming in. I have doubt at this point that it's even going to come in, right? So my first suggestion, because I'm just going to share like from personal experience whenever I felt stuck, okay, is that first things first, I would suggest looking at the actual goal or dream. Just call it a dream. I like to think of things in terms of dreams over goals because dreams sound like a better word. Goals sound hard and like you got to work and that kind of thing. And dreams are like amazing when they happen. Okay, so let's call them dreams. But first things first, changing up the dream. Does that mean that you are giving up? That you're like, well, it ain't ever gonna come in. I gotta, change this dream because it's not gonna happen, right? No, that's not what it means. What you need to do is if you feel, and again, time, it's one of those things like, it's hard to measure what is a long time. For some people, it could be like, well, I've had this dream for a year, and to them, that's a long time. Somebody else could be like, I've had this dream for 3 months and that's a long time. So figure out what is kind of underlying there, like, because everybody's going to have a different perspective on what's a long time. But realizing that if you feel that you've done all the steps and you believed in it and you know what I mean, like you're like, no, this is the one, this is the dream, and yet it seems elusive, it's not coming in, nothing's really manifesting to suggest that it's even going to come in. Addressing the actual dream goal by looking at, have I met this dream with my belief level? Okay, because most of the time people are held back because they don't fully believe in this maybe seemingly big goal, massive goal, big dream that they have. And that belief is going to make it or break it pretty much. Okay, so if you had a goal and like in the last episode, Vince was talking about his goal of making 10 grand a month. And he said he had it for a long time. Now, I don't know how long that is, but let's say that you had a goal, making 10 grand a month, and it's been, we'll put it in like business terms, like you've been working on a business and it's been like a year and you haven't hit this goal yet, okay? You started the business a year ago, you haven't hit the goal, you feel like you're doing what you need to do, but like you just need that breakthrough and it just hasn't come, right? And let's say too that at most you've maybe made like $3,000 a month. You're nowhere near like the 10,000, right? So as time goes on, you're actually going to believe less and less and less in achieving this 10 grand a month. So what I would suggest is to address that dream, address that goal and say, you know what? I'm not saying I'm not going to ever make 10 grand a month. But let's just bring this goal down a little bit to my belief level that, let's say I've been making maybe 3,000 is like my top month. I just want to double that. Like, can I be happy just doubling the goal for right now? And then when I get to the next milestone, the next level of achievement, then I can say 10 grand a month, baby, right around the corner, right? But to go from that 3 grand to 10 grand, for a lot of people, mentally, it's challenging to accept that belief of being able to do it, especially as time goes on and you're feeling less and less, you know, passionate about the goal, less and less like believing it's going to happen, because the longer it doesn't, the more you're like, is this ever going to commit? So bringing down that dream, that desire, just a notch, okay? Just for a time, just for a short period, all right? And thinking about, how does this make me feel? Okay, so let's just say, you know, this is me. I'm making 3 grand a month, and I decide that 10 grand a month is just a little bit outside of my belief level right now. So I'm gonna go for 6 grand a month. I mean, that's double. That's great, right? If I feel good about that, and I say, you know what? Cool. Like, if there's a little stepping stone in there somewhere, that's cool. I will go for that, because it's easier to believe it. So I think about it, ponder on it. You know, this is all like personal stuff here, like personal levels of awareness, personal levels of belief. And maybe I think about it and I'm like, you know, 3,000 is my top. I haven't had a month even close to 6 grand. Maybe 6 grand a month's a little too much, you know? And that's okay. Like, admitting this to yourself, you don't have to share this to anybody, you know? You don't have to be like, hey everybody, I failed in my goal, you know? I gotta bring it down a notch because, you know, I suck. No, you don't have to tell anybody this, okay? This is better if you actually don't share your goals sometimes. Let's just say I'm like, yeah, you know, that's a little bit of a stretch still. You know what? How about $4,500 a month? Can I believe that I can go from 3 grand a month to $4,500 a month without like jumping crazy wild, you know, belief levels in my head? Is that going to be easier for me? Is that more believable? How do I feel about it? And these are all questions you're kind of asking yourself as you play around with the dream. You know, I call this process dream building, because that's what you're doing. You're literally having to kind of build beliefs, build inner systems in your mind of getting to where you want to go, okay? So to be able to close the gap here of that belief level, and one of the things I think is a major issue, why people do not get their goals and why they just give up, period, is that gap is too big of from where they are to where they want to be and their belief level. All right, so adjusting that's number one. Now let's say I pick that new goal, that new dream, $4,500 a month. Okay, cool. Like, I can do that. I don't know how. And that's the key too. You don't have to set this goal based on, I know how to do it. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to know how. That is the most challenging part, I think, of believing in something that has not come. Is that people are like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Nobody does, all right? Until they've actually done it and then can look back and say, oh, I did A, B, C, D. And for, you know, everybody, it's different. So there's really no like, here's the 5 steps to success for every single person in the world. It doesn't work that way, all right? So you've got the new goal, $4,500 a month. All righty. We're feeling better. This is the big point here. If you don't take away anything else from this video, pay attention right here. Feeling is the secret. How you feel about your goal on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour basis is going to determine how quickly this comes into your life. Most people are not achieving the dream because they do not feel good when they think about the goal or the dream. And why is that? We just addressed it. Most of them don't think they're actually going to get it. So it makes them feel bad thinking of it because they're thinking of the lack of getting it. I'm never going to get that goal. Well, poop, you know? And so it brings them back down to a level of frequency, vibration, energy that is low, where stuff just is stagnant, things don't move, you know, things aren't happening in your favor. You know what I'm talking about here, right? Just slap the like button if you know what I'm talking about here, where it's like, I've had this goal, I've had this dream, I'm doing the work, I'm figuring it out, kind of, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck. It is often going to go right back to this whole thing of feeling is the secret. If you can get yourself, that's why I said to address the goal first. Like, what is the goal? You can get yourself to feeling better about that goal, about that dream, you are on the way already. Just releasing this, what I like to call resistance, tension. It's a barrier to bringing what you want in your life. Because if you have any kind of tension or resistance around it, like, you know, when I explained the difference of me feeling better about $4,500 a month than $6,000 a month, because, you know, 3 to 6 is double, 3,000 to 4,500, that's not as hard, right? Seemingly. If I still felt resistance and I said, nah, I'm gonna go, $6,000 a month, you know, woo, but I'm like, that feels kind of hard, you know, that feels like a strain. I really am worried about how I'm gonna do it. I'm really not sure that I'm at the right level here. That's when you know to change the goal, because you can tell by how you feel. So if you can connect how you feel to the ultimate outcome, this is where we got to bring these things together. All right. So changing how you feel. All right. Now, another way to change how you feel is when you think about this goal or dream and you start to get like, man, you know, I really wish I had that, but I don't. It hasn't happened. You know, and you get a little discouraged. Okay. Take a step back. Just look at the overall picture here. Oftentimes it helps just to like reframe the situation. Say like, okay, well, you know, I'm not making this $4,500 a month yet, but I have a roof over my head. I've got a car, you know, I've got a few bucks in the bank. I've got food on the table. It's okay. Like, I'm good. I am good. Everything is fine, right? You don't have to freak out like, I'll never get there. Why is this taking so long? No. Reframe it. Look at the situation just entirely different, okay? Think about when you first, and again, we're going back to this business example. Think about when you first started the business and how you were making $0. Nothing. You know, you were putting money in. You hadn't even gotten any money out yet. And now you're grumbling maybe a bit because you're like, well, I'm stuck at this amount per month and I want to make this amount. Just take a step back and look at the overall picture that you've done something, first of all. Most people don't even have the guts to do, which is starting a business. Second of all, you know, in our example here, we were talking about like a year's time being into it and doing something for a year. Most people give up after like a couple of months and they're like, you know, it's not working and this is hard. I'm just gonna quit. Go back to the day job, you know, whatever it is. You've come this far, right? So this is going to help change your perspective. When you change your perspective, everything about how you feel with the goal and the dream will also change. Okay, I've learned this from listening to several mentors who basically say, you know, change how you look at something, and how you look at something will often change. All right. Number 3. This one is going to be the toughest step of the 3 steps, right? So number 1, we maybe changed up our goal, changed up our dream to meet the belief. Number 2, we changed how we feel about it. Number 3 is the most backwards concept. When I first heard this, I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand why this would help my situation, but I was willing to try anything, you know. I can remember back to when I wanted to quit my job in 2015 and feeling at this point, you know, I had the goal, I was working on the business, I was in a mastermind, I was putting in the time, I was believing, I had the right belief level for where I wanted to go, but it wasn't happening. And I was like, okay, I'm missing something here. Something important. There's a lesson I got to learn here. And what I realized was that I was not grateful for the current circumstance that I was in, which was I had a good paying job, full-time, benefits, salary, all that. I had a really cushy job in a sense of I had a company car. I didn't have a boss looking over my shoulder. I got to drive around all day, which I don't mind doing if I'm getting paid and it ain't my car. The people that I worked with were really great, like customers. It was easy, guys. Okay, let's just put it out. It was easy. I could listen to audiobooks all day in the car. And I was grumbling, complaining, being ungrateful because I thought I should have quit my job by now. It was like somewhere around 7 months, 8 months into making the decision, working on it. And I wasn't there yet. I didn't have enough income coming in through my Kindle business at the time. And I was like, kind of like her, But when I decided to look at the situation and feel grateful for what was actually going on, I noticed something very powerful, okay? I chose to look at anything I could see, even though it was a little challenging, anything I could see that was positive about it. Like I said, I just listed all the benefits of the job. Also, I had money coming in from the job and my Kindle business. I was making 2 incomes, all right? And, here I was being ungrateful for not being like a full-time entrepreneur yet. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to wake up every day. I'm going to take this day by day. Like, this is how to do it. Daily reminding myself of the good that's in my life and taking that strain and that stress off myself of like, oh, but I have to quit my job by this date or I'm a loser. Like putting all that aside and just telling myself that things were good. I have a lot of things going for me. And so every day I started the day in a different mindset. And I started to see things happening around me differently. Like all of a sudden, one of my books takes off. All of a sudden, I meet somebody who opens a new door in my business. And all of a sudden, opportunities are showing up. And all of a sudden, I'm going from, I think I was somewhere stuck around like $3,000 a month or something like that. I'm like doubling my income. And as best as I could tell at the time, and even more so now, years down the road, I know for a fact it's because I looked at my circumstances differently and I chose to be grateful for what was happening right then and there. And if you can do this, it is so powerful because it's going to cause you to look at everything around you with fresh eyes. I wouldn't have seen those other opportunities. I wouldn't have been in contact with this person who really helped change the game for me. I wouldn't have had opportunity to coach with her. And, a lot of things just probably wouldn't have come my way because my energy and the way I was feeling about things before wasn't going to bring that into my life. So if you can understand that and say, it's hard, right? It's hard to be grateful about a situation you want to change. It really is. And I just said, you know what? I know it's challenging, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to just be grateful. And as you look for things to be grateful for, you're going to find them. And then you're going to find more of them. And then you're going to find more and more and more. And it is like an avalanche of blessings in your life. And a lot of times, some of this stuff it's already there, right? But you just didn't see it that way. You're reminded of it sometimes. Maybe like, somebody gets in a car accident and you're like, oh, man, I'm so grateful. Like, I'm safe. My car's okay. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things you just take for granted. And you don't know that you have these blessings until you take a step back and you're like, wow, I have a lot going for myself. So bringing this down home, these 3 steps will help you know what to do when the goal just isn't coming in, right? And one of these three things, or all of them, are going to be the key that's holding you back right now. Number one, do we have to change the goal? Do we have to change the dream slightly so that you can get to the belief of where you need to be? Or two, I should say, changing how you feel about it. If you wake up every single day and you're like, dang, another day, like nothing's happening, I don't feel like working on this business, I'm just like really frustrated, everything I do just doesn't work, why am I even working on this? It's going to be very tough to change your circumstances, all right? So changing how you feel about it, and maybe just looking at something entirely different, saying, you know what, maybe things aren't going the way I want in this business. Maybe I'm not making this, $4,500 a month, whatever it is. But I have a family, I have, pets, I have friends, I have lots of good things going for me. That'll help change how you feel. Number three, feeling grateful about your current circumstances. And I'll go a step further and kind of put this out there, even though it sounds a little woo, but actually welcoming with open arms whatever is coming your way. I learned this from Rhonda Byrne's The Greatest Secret. Okay, she's known for The Secret. She's written several other books. Check out The Greatest Secret. It's really good. It's funny how this works, but when I actually put it into practice, I was like, it works. It's weird, but it works. So let's say, for example, I'm making this $3,000 a month. I ain't happy making $3,000 a month, but I'm going to welcome it with open arms and say, this is great. Maybe it's not exactly what I love, or maybe it's not exactly what I want, but this is good. I'm very welcoming to this amount of money per month. I'm not saying that I'm always going to be here. I'm not saying I'm always going to, be struggling, that it's always going to be hard, that I'm, going to have to fight tooth and nail to get to this 4,500 or whatever it might be. I'm just saying I'm welcoming this circumstance because there's a lesson here. Maybe there's something that has to come into place. Things have to move. The pieces of the universe have to come together in my favor, and it's just going to work out the perfect way at the perfect time, right? So if you missed any of this, go back, watch the replay. I also post these on my YouTube channel, in case you didn't know. Just Amy Nicholas is my YouTube, if that's easier for you to come back and watch a replay. But smash the like button if you got any value out of this. Share it if you think somebody else needs to hear it. If you yourself, maybe you had a goal for a long time, it's not coming in, post in the comments. I'll respond. I look at the comments. If you feel like sharing, and just, maybe what the goal is, or what, just where you're at. Did this help clarify like what to do next? And if you want to get these notifications, I send out emails when I go live. Also going to start doing show notes. You can take some notes with you. If you are interested in that, there's a link in the comments. You can sign up free to my newsletter. Beyond that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next one.